Hey guys, I am back with another review, and we're going to be talking about episode 6 of House of the Dragon season 2. So, this was a very subtle, chill episode. Um, I liked it, it was very good. So, this episode starts off, we're in the Western Lands, the Lannisters, which are the Lannister army, which is led by, I believe, Jason Lannister. They have reached the Golden Tooth. And this scene cracks me up because Jason Lannister just basically he has no intention of marching further away from the Western Lands until Aemon promises to fly with him with Vhagar, because honestly they're scared that Rhaenyra's dragons can come at any time, because this is a war between dragons after all. But the Lord is like, well, do we march off? And he was like, no, but I hope you're happy to host us. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So Jason Lannister sends Aemon basically a request to come with Vhagar, and Aemon's just upset. Who's like, how dare he commands the Prince Regent to do anything and everything. And so basically the Green Council is just still planning what to do. Christian Cole does not want to go to the Riverlands without any type of full strength against Daemon, because once Daemon gets the River Lords together and united, they will essentially have the largest part of the kingdom to destroy the Green Council in general. So Aemon anyway sends Aemon to the Riverlands anyway, and he wants to ally with the Triarchies to basically break the Valyrian fleet's blockade of the Gullet. And this will give them time to wait on the Lannister forces, which is 1,000 men, and also the High Tower host that Otto will obviously bring. Next, so Aemon is just dismisses the council. He was like, well, I need to speak to you, mother. So he speaks to Alicent. And of course, Alicent is still fighting to have her voice heard on the Green Council. They're still just ignoring the shit out of her. But Aemon's like, well, what gives you a spot on the council? And she's like, what do you mean? I have been sitting on this council and even your chair because I had to rule in your father's stead. And he was like, well, father's dead. Oh, well, we're in no need of you. So he releases her from her seat, obviously because he plans to upgrade and rearrange the Green Council. But obviously he thinks his mom as a woman doesn't deserve a place on the council. And this upsets Alicent. She's just like, well, have the indignities of your childhood not been avenged yet? Because this man has literally killed Luke, he's killed Rhaenys, he's literally basically the king now, being regent. So she's just like, what else do you want? And I believe Aemon just is not going to be satisfied until he takes over everything, plus kills Daemon. So we're back on Dragonstone. The Black Council gathers once again. Corlys agrees to be hand. He's there on Dragonstone awaiting the queen to come at the great table. And of course, Rhaenyra and the rest of the councilmen and, the Great Council, they come, and Rhaenyra basically tells of her and Jace's plan, basically to gain more dragon riders. And she brings in Sir Stefflin, one of Darkling, one of the people in her Queen's Guard. And she's like, well, I've looked into the histories and basically the family tree of the Targaryens, and you are related to us, and you do have Targaryen blood through your grandmother's grandmother. I believe she named her Arianne. And basically, he's like, this is a secret or talk we've heard growing up. And Sir Darkling is just willing to die. She tells him, to claim a dragon, you must be prepared to die or, eventually fly. And he's just like, well, I took an oath to my queen, I give my blood for hers. And he's like, I do it anyway. I'm like, oh, okay. But this makes me think, does it really matter how much drops of blood, of Targaryen blood or Valyrian blood, someone needs to claim a dragon, or no? I don't know. So, Daemon is still in Harrenhal, dreaming, hallucinating, being haunted. He has a dream of Viserys. We've seen Rhaenyra in his first dreams, Weirwood dreams. Then we've seen Lena here and there, and then we've seen basically his mother, and now we see Viserys, and basically Viserys recites the reason why this whole succession crisis happened, because partially it was because he wanted to spurn Daemon, because Daemon had made supposedly the joke of an heir for a day after his son died. But Yeah, and you can tell these dreams bring out what haunts Damon, what are his traumas and everything, and it's like Alice clearly in Harrenhal, the magic surrounding the castle is kind of shaping Damon for something, and I believe, of course, it's the way to end the war, and something bigger, of course. And so Damon tries to get out of the throne room because he's been in this throne room for like a few times now in these episodes. And Simon is like there every time to be like, "Are you okay, my lord?" and all these things. Of course, I guess he understands that he's being haunted now within Harrenhal, and basically, David is going off like paranoid. Is this you working for your nephew to kill me? Is Rhaenyra trying to kill me and stuff? Like, he's just going off the walls. And Simon's just like, it's the curse, my lord. It's just really what's driving you crazy. And, we basically just come to determine, like, throughout, even in the dream, like, Damon is not really fit to wear the crown because he's more someone that just. You, we'll get into that later. But anyway, still the main thing a plot is that he has to unite like the river lords, and basically he cannot do that without House Tully as the Lord Paramount. So Sir Stephen Darkling goes ahead and tries to claim Sea Smoke, and Rhaenyra and Jace watch to see if their plan succeed. And I love this scene because it just really, for people who love House Dragon and basically dragon lore, like it shows us like what goes on, like what is the culture behind controlling dragons or claiming them. And we just have the dragon keepers, they sing a song to um get Sea Smoke to come, and Sea Smoke arrives, and they're like, go ahead and claim Sea Smoke, but don't show fear. Darkland is just Sir Darkland is just basically shaking his boots the whole time, and it's just like, please don't do that. That's what dragons like. Basically, they hate, like they're monsters or creatures. Well, not monsters, but the creatures of fear. Or basically, they don't have any fear. So it's like, for you to show that towards a dragon, they're going to be less likely to claim you. So they're telling Sea Smoke to serve and everything. Sea Smoke almost seems like he's gonna let Sir Stephen Darkling claim him, and it's like psych. Sea Smoke just basically just burns the shit out of Sir Stephen Darkling, and it's just the first attempt of trying to get a dragon rider is just a no. So Corlys is at Spice Town, of course, keeping an eye on Alan and Adam, and Corlys's ship is almost ready to be completed, rebuilt for him to go back to lead the blockade in the Gullet. And he wants Alan to come with him and basically serve as, I guess, a co-captain. And Alan's like, are you sure you want to bestow this upon me and stuff? Like, is this a request or command? And it's a command, it's orders. And of course, we find that Adam feels ignored as, you know, one of the bastards and everything, because, this basically what's being revealed. It just gets deeper into the Corlys and his hidden sons storyline. So we're in King's Landing with Ulf the White, and we see more of how much of the starvation is just lingering in King's Landing. And Diana, who now works in the tavern, just hands him a bowl of brown. And he's like, this is all we have. She's like, either that or fish. And basically it's not looking well in King's Landing. The Greens are just not having it really good. The small folk are against them. And he has a conversation with the lady who basically is almost like another mother figure for Aemon. And she's just like, all this because Rhaenyra was usurped of her throne. She's just like, what could have been? We never know what could have been. It should have been queen. And I think this will lead Off-White to eventually come into Dragonstone and wanting to, for some reason, fight for Queen Rhaenyra or be one of her supporters. So obviously, one of the lords on Rhaenyra's council is not happy about what just happened, and this is the same lord that's always just like, send the dragons out, send the dragons out. And Rhaenyra just reached her breaking point with him, and she just slaps the entire shit out of him. Like, and she's just like, I think it's my fault that you've forgotten to fear me, because obviously Rhaenyra is just going through a lot of personality changes, and she's just going through this phase of, well, how are these people seeing me as their queen and sovereign, and how do I want to see myself? Like, literally, this is what the season is about. Rhaenyra's personal development of who she is within trying to claim the Iron Throne as the rightful heir, and also just the slow events of how what leads up to the war intensing and being what it is, or what's called the dance of the dragons. But yeah, this scene was just like so hilarious. Then Rhaenyra, she's still trying to find her inner Visenya, playing with this sword and everything, and I just don't see it for Rhaenyra. But Masari walks in, and she's just saying like how much success of trying to spread the propaganda against the Greens within King's Landing is working, and how the final phase of it will go through tonight. But let me tell y'all, Masari be trying to just juice Rhaenyra up. She's just like, I see this sword befits you, your grace. And Rhaenyra's just like, okay, anyway. Aemon is aware that King's Landing is just not looking so bright with the blockade going on. And Larys, forever just pushing, trying to be the king's hand, pushes Aemon to basically acknowledge, like, you need a hand. Every king or person in power needs a hand. And Aemon's like, well, do you think me stupid? Of course I know this. And I'm just like, Larys, you are pushing way too hard. So, Aemon's like, well, I bestowed this job upon you. And Larys is just like, oh my God, I'm thank you so much, Your Grace. Like, I never expected, this type of job to be upon me. And Aemon's just like, psych, you stupid. I mean, go fetch the hand. He's like, go fetch Otto Hightower. We need Otto Hightower. And I'm just like, oh my God, he didn't have to do Larys like that. So in the midst of all that, Meister Orwell pops in and is just like, well, the king is awake. And Aegon is very irritated at this. He goes to see, well, not Aegon, I meant Aemon. Aemon goes to see Aegon, and it's just like, it's clear he's going to kill him, but it's Meister Oil that comes in and stops Aemon from killing his brother. And so he's like, well, if I can't kill him, well, let's just make him drunk with milk of the poppy. And I'm just like, he's just so evil. So Rhaena is roaming the Vale with her stepbrother Joffrey, and all of a sudden they discover that traces of a dragon feeding within the Vale, eating goats or whatever, and it seems that it's a large dragon, and obviously this dragon is Cannibal, which is a wild dragon that I believe that has roamed the Vale for a while and is possibly bigger than Vhagar. So, Lady Jane Eyre gets news that Prince Reggio accept all three of the Targaryen royalty, Rhaena, and Rhaenyra's three sons, and of course Rhaena is not concerned with this. She's more concerned with the fact that there is a dragon within the Vale, and I think she honestly feels sad because she's like, well, here you are asking for protection from a dragon, and you knew there's a dragon within the Vale this whole time, and possibly Rhaena could have claimed that dragon, but honestly, no, Cannibal is too wild. He wouldn't let anyone pretty much claim him at all. Like, Cannibal is called Cannibal because they eat dragons as well, I believe. So in this scene was very interesting because we go to see how basically Adam grows Targaryen pale hair, and Alan, and Adam doesn't. And of course, Alan is always wearing a scarf 3 to 4 days to hide his hair. And they just talk about how Corlys pays attention more to Alan more than Adam. And it might be because he sees more of himself in Alan than Adam, or because of he's has Targaryen traits than Adam does. And also he wishes for them to gain the prestige and titles of nobility as their siblings, Laena and Laenor, did, they're bastards. And basically, Alan tries to tell Adam, like, this is just a dream. Like, stop dreaming. It's never going to happen. And I'm just like, oh, okay. But I love this scene. So Rhaenyra and Jace, they have a talk, and they pretty much argue about Rhaenyra's position as queen and sovereign and how she should kind of accept being protected, but how she would not win this war without Daemon and them giving their mainland army from the Riverlands. And Rhaenyra is just annoyed at this because she was like, every time I have a conversation with somebody and we talk about my position as queen, it's always Daemon, which is true because she really can, I won't say rule without Daemon, but there is much more than there is than just having Daemon as an ally within the war. And then her and Masari just have this loud gay moment, and they're locking eyes, and Jace is clocking tea, and she's like, well, Your Grace, everything is ready for our plan. So the plan is they sent out little boats of food to the peasants of King's Landing because they know they're starving. And this goes ahead and just helps with spreading the propaganda that the Greens do not care about the small folk, and it is Queen Rhaenyra that is helping you instead of the King Aegon and the Prince Regent Aemon. So Alicent is with Aegon, but Maester Orwell comes in, and she's basically still like sent letters to Otto Hightower, and he hasn't answered her. Honestly, he's ignoring her, and Master Orwell is like, I haven't seen anything. So she goes to the courtyard later, and she speaks with her brother Gwaine, and she asks him, "Have you heard from father?" And he's like, "No, you've always been the favorite." And she also asked about her son Daeron, like how has he been? Because he's older and he doesn't write to her less and less, and he's basically like he's good, like basically better than your other children, like not evil. I was like, okay, are we trying to like I don't know, like make it seem like there's another option to the throne other than Aegon and Aemon? Either way, it's not working over here. She later also goes to Helena and she requests, like, we should go to prayer for all the lost souls in Aegon. And Helena is just like, why? But she's just interested in her bugs. And she's like, this one stopped singing. Isn't that odd? So now that Aemon is just basically popping off at everybody and kind of has pissed off Larys, Larys knows what Aemon is doing, of course, because Larys hears and sees everything. And he knows that he's trying to keep Aegon drunk off of the milk of the poppy. He dismisses the Meisters from doing that, and basically he tells Aegon, you have an ally, and Aegon clearly asks for help because he knows Aemon is going to kill him. So during the scarcity of food, Hugh manages to discover that food's been sent. He receives food, for his family and his sick daughter. Alicent and Helena are at the Sept, and basically the citizens are rioting. They're rioting at the Sept and all over the city, and they attack Alicent and Helena. And then also someone pointed out that there's foreshadowing of basically Helena's death right in the scene from what she's against. And yeah, basically the Greens see that everything is just not going well for them. So Daemon is still dreaming, but he dreams about basically the same thing as the last dream of the reason why there's a succession crisis, which starts with Aemon's death and childbirth of Balon. And Daemon basically has a little bit of a redemption arc in this scene, and basically is there for Viserys the way he wasn't when it did all this did actually go down. Then it is come to find out that Lord Tully is, after all, passed away, and now Oscar Tully is the new Lord. And Daemon is happy, he's crying, but also he tries to escape Harrenhal, and the Alice River basically stops him and convinces him, the crown was not meant for you. You basically look for the crown instead of just strive for it, then basically just want to just serve the realm. And she convinces him that do nothing. In 3 days' time, the winds will shift. And at this moment, this is what happens. And also it's mentioned that she helped try to heal Lord Grover Tully. And I'm just like, did she have a hand in killing him? Like, wow. And also it's confirmed that after all, she's real, I guess. And after all that, Sea Smoke is really lonely. After denying Stefan Darkland, she's like, well, I'm going to go for the one I want. She's going to go for Adam Velaryon, basically, which is Laenor's brother. And she is just aggressively like, you're going to be my rider. And this goes into the Dragon lore that not only does the rider claim the dragon chooses the rider as well. So this whole scene with Rhaenyra and Mysaria was just very like, confusing me at the same time. It was kind of obvious that they were having like this little tension going on, and it's the same thing with Rhaenyra and Alicent. So it makes me think, like, has Rhaenyra and Alicent have low-key had a lesbian relationship? Like this unsaid thing this whole time, and I guess it might be true. I feel like the writers are trying to tell us something. But in this scene, Rhaenyra basically tells Mysaria that she basically doubts she can win this war. And Mysaria is ever trying to just heal her conscience. It's just like, you're the queen you are. You're going to win this war, and I believe in you and everything. Then all of a sudden, when the Queen's Guard steps in, and it's just like, well, my queen, your grace, we have had news that Sea Smoke has been claimed or has a writer now. And, we don't know who it is. And Rhaenyra is just like, oh, hell no. So she just goes on Cyrax, and Jace goes after her, but it's too late. And, she's on her adventure to find out who has claimed Sea Smoke. And, she doesn't know whether it's the Greens or possibly if it's Laenor has came back and returned with saddling sea smoke. But I enjoyed doing this review for y'all for season two, episode six of House of the Dragon. I definitely will be doing more until the end of the season. Make sure y'all like, comment, and also follow me, and I'll be back with more.